Hi everyone, this is Barry FitzGerald, GAIA Imperial columnist for Stockhead. Today we're starting out with a new series called the Q-Wrapz, where we get the chance to fire off a bunch of questions to companies that have just issued their quarterly reports. First up, we have Firefinch. It trades under the code FFX, and it's currently trading 41.5 cents for a market cap of 380 mil. Now, anyone who's followed the stock will know it's been a very strong performer in recent times for two very good reasons. One was the acquisition of the Morilla gold project in Mali, and then there was the breakthrough agreement with China's Ganfeng on the Goulamina lithium project, also in Mali. So we'll jump straight into it. We've got Firefinch Managing Director Michael Anderson with us today. G'day, Michael. Thanks for your time.
Morning, Barry. Good to be here.
Okay, Michael. Clearly you've got two breakthrough deals recently, Ganfeng and Marilla. Let's start with Marilla. Used to be known as Marilla the Gorilla for some very good reasons, and it has been treating tailings retreatment, but the company's got a plan to restore it to some of its former glory. What did the quarterly report tell us about your progress on that front?
Well, tremendous progress in what has been my first quarter with the company. It's been remarkable, the achievements and the steady flow of news that's come out as we've continued with the revival. So we did start dewatering the main Marilla super pit in April. We then recommenced mining of the satellites in early May. We refurbished and recommissioned the comminution circuit in mid-May, and all of that taking place whilst we continue to drill and upgrade resources and put a first reserve in place under Firefinch's watch. And that led to the release of our maiden life of mine plan, which defines a very attractive production profile over the next 3 to 4 years, where we ramp up from the 40 to 50,000 ounces that we were producing in that tailings retreatment operation to over 100,000 ounces, 120,000 ounces next year, 170 in the year after, and up to 200 in 2024 once we get back into the heart of Marilla. And that's the main prize here. So, a very great first few steps along the path to that, and all very encouraging and on track to start to, as you say, revive and recreate the gorilla.
Right. Now, I think the month of June was a record 5,000 ounces. Obviously, we're in transition here. When do you make that switch from tailings retreatment, which is roughly half a gram?
The current operation is processing predominantly satellite ore now, so we progressed from just straight tailings retreatment. But I guess that main change will occur once we get back into the mining of Marilla, which gets underway early next year, and we'll see first ore from the super pit by the second quarter. That all is all about tons and grade, as you would well know. The progression here is reflecting a modest uptick in grade as we get into the satellites, and also recoveries that are far better on the processing of fresh rock through that comminution circuit now. So yes, it is a progression, but over the next few months, you'll continue to see improved production numbers. I think our guidance for next quarter is 13 to 15,000 ounces. So we're tracking towards that 60,000 ounces annually. But by next year, we'll hopefully be doing double that.
Okay, the quarterly showed that the operation was pretty much washing its face in the June quarter. When do you expect that transition to actually turning a few dollars at the project?
Well, certainly, operationally at C1 level it will, but we do have a bit of capital to spend in terms of continuing that dewatering and then ultimately the pre-strip at Marilla. So, the life of mine plan shows substantial cash flows coming our way by 2023.
Right. And you mentioned recoveries there, quite low in this current quarter, but obviously, again, that's all to do with the transition.
Absolutely, and our history tells us that Marilla's recoveries in fresh rock are over 91%, and we fully expect to get there once that becomes the predominant feed.
Now, in its early days, it was called Marilla the Gorilla because I think 1 year it produced 1 million ounces at 7.5 grams a tonne. What's your exploration telling you about the potential to get some more of that ore through the mill at some stage?
Yeah, there's a couple of very juicy looking high-grade targets, which are effectively continuations of that main Marilla ore body at depth and outside of the original pit shell. There's been very limited drilling, and it's our goal to set that to rights. and do have a pretty aggressive drilling plan for Morilla itself, initially to define that early stages of the cutback. But we haven't ruled out the opportunity for a small high-grade underground component here. And I do, I'm noticing the ongoing very promising and successful performance of West African's Sanbrado project in Burkina Faso that I had a bit to do with in my tourist days. And it's a very healthy combination of open pit and underground ore that has them producing 60,000 ounces a quarter at very healthy grades and margins. And I think that's a very useful analogy for us, because any high-grade underground will contribute very significantly to our cash flows.
Right. Now, I actually know a few shareholders, and they keep bugging me saying, when will they get their bit of paper for the Goulamina spin-off?
Look, as soon as we can. There's obviously a few conditions precedent to the Ganfeng deal. None of them that we expect to prove problematic, but they take time. There's some government approvals on the Chinese side, and we have a license transfer to effect in Mali, which we don't see any issue with. But anytime you involve lawyers, it always seems to take a little longer than you would like. But it's certainly our goal to effect the spin-off and to put that piece of paper in shareholders' hands as quickly as we can. Should be possible before the end of this year, and it won't be because we're sitting on our hands. We want to give Goulamina its own lease of life. We're out recruiting for the management team at the minute. We've moved into some very pleasant offices here in West Perth, which are ready and willing and able to receive that team. And we have already started a little bit of value engineering with our Ganfeng partners. So lots of wheels in motion, but do understand people's focus on getting that SpinCo piece of paper. And hopefully we'll be able to provide a more detailed update on the timeline in the very near term.
Right. Now, when you look across the ASX, any company with a 200,000 ounce sort of production profile in gold, let alone 40,000 tonnes plus of spodumene, I'm just curious what you think of the current market cap of, what did I say, it was 380 million there. One could argue that it's justified on Marilla alone, or alternatively the lithium. So you think you've got a pathway here to $1 billion market cap?
Oh, definitely, Barry, and that's why I took this role on. I saw the potential of certainly Morilla, and I've come to understand just how valuable Goulamina can be. And I genuinely believe we're on the path to building $2 billion companies here. But up to us to deliver those production profiles. That's what the market will ultimately value. And I mentioned West African earlier. They're already capped at that, and deservedly so. Our goal is to close that gap and to build our production so that we are a genuine peer and have those production numbers to speak to. And likewise, Goulamina has to get on the path of construction, commissioning, and ultimately steady state production in time too. But when both assets are at that level, you don't have to stretch your imagination too far to look at the peers and see that there are companies out there capped at over $1 billion doing what we plan to do on both fronts. So that's the goal, and our job to deliver on it.
Oh, there we go, folks. A great start with the June quarter. Marilla starting to kick some goals there. And, of course, the lithium story to come through later in the year, early next year. So with that, thanks for your time, Michael. All the best with it.
Thank you, Barry.
Cheers.